Are any of you here for the first time? First time? Hi, welcome. So what we usually do in this evening, Thursday evening class is meditation. And we usually start with some kind of mindfulness meditation using the breath. And then I talk about different aspects of meditation. And then we have a break. And then after the break, we do another kind of meditation. So it's roughly, that's the format. So I thought tonight we'll start with something we have done previously, which is a body scan. And this is going through the body. And there's different ways of doing a body scan. Some start from the bottom, like the feet, the toes, and go up. But I like to go from the top down. So just with your mind or your awareness, you go through the body and scan the body. And one reason for doing this is just to have more awareness, just to be more aware of the different things that are happening in our body, different sensations and so forth. But I think it's also a way to become more relaxed, because sometimes we might be holding on to tension and sometimes we don't even know it. We're not even aware of it. So going through the body and just kind of checking, if there's any tension anywhere, that can help us to let go of, release the tension, and thus be more relaxed. But I think it's also a good way to start a meditation, because during the day we're often really busy. We're very much engaged with the outside world, people and activities and news and so on and so forth. So our attention is very much outside of ourselves. And when we're practicing meditation, we want to bring our attention inside of ourselves and become more aware of our own experiences, our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions and sensations and so forth. So starting with the body scan helps to bring our awareness, more into ourselves, into our own body. And then that helps us to move into other types of meditation, which deal more with the mind. So we'll start with that. I'll lead you through a body scan, a brief one. And then from there, we'll go on to meditation on the breath. Are any of you like totally new to meditation? Have never done meditation before? No? Okay, so I'll have some experience. Okay, so start by sitting in a position that is comfortable. It's good to be comfortable, but it's also good, if you can, to have a straight back, because there is a relationship between our body and our mind, and the way we hold our body, the way we sit, will have an effect on our mind. And keeping the back straight helps our mind to be more clear and more focused. So if you can, try to do that. But if you have some back problem and you're not able to sit with the back straight, then that's fine. So it is important to try to find a way of sitting that is comfortable, so that you don't have a lot of pain. So it's like making a balance between a good position for meditation, but also a comfortable one. So you have to kind of work with that and find a position that's good, conducive for meditation, but at the same time comfortable for you. And in the Tibetan tradition, it is recommended that we don't close our eyes completely when we meditate, because closing the eyes can lead to sleepiness, drowsiness. We can actually fall asleep in meditation. And that's especially possible if you've been working hard all day and you're tired, and maybe this is the first time all day that you've sat down and relaxed. So your tiredness might come up, and you might find yourself falling asleep. And ideally, we don't want to fall asleep in meditation. We want to stay awake. So a way to do that, a way to stay awake, is by not closing the eyes completely, but leaving them open a little bit. Not completely open, but just a little bit. And then your eyes looking downwards, like onto the floor in front of you. So that way there's some light coming into your eyes, and that can help you to stay more awake and alert. But some people find it really hard to do this. If it's hard for you, if it's uncomfortable, if it's distracting, keeping your eyes open just a little bit, it is okay to close your eyes. That's more comfortable. But if you do close your eyes, just try to be aware if you are falling asleep or not. And if you are starting to fall asleep, then a way to kind of counteract that is to open your eyes a bit. Okay, so let's start by taking a couple of deep breaths. So this is another way of relaxing and letting go of tension. So breathe in slowly and deeply. Pause for just a moment, and then let the breath go out slowly, not in a rush, but breathe out slowly. And you can imagine that if there's any tension in your body or in your mind, that it goes out with the breath. So just breathe it out and just imagine that it vanishes, it disappears. So do that for 3 breaths. Breathing in slowly and deeply, pausing, breathing out slowly, and releasing tension from the body and the mind. And then just breathe in a natural way. In other words, let your body breathe on its own without your mind controlling it. There's no need to control your breathing. Your body is able to breathe on its own. So just let go of controlling the breath and just let the body breathe. Sometimes it might breathe in a deeper way, sometimes in a lighter way, and that's fine. The body knows how much air it needs to take in. Just let it do what it needs to do on its own. So just let your breathing be natural. Now we'll start the body scan. First of all, feel the top of your head. See if you can notice any sensations on the top of your head. It might be tingling, or tightness, or lightness, heat, or cool. If there is any tightness, see if you can let it go. Let the top of your head be relaxed. then let your awareness slip down from the top of your head to your forehead. Feel your forehead. What sensations do you notice there? And again, if there's any tightness, if there's any like worry lines in your forehead, see if you can release those. Let your forehead be smooth and relaxed. Next, feel your eyes. And again, if there's any tension around your eyes or behind your eyes, see if you can release it. Let your eyes relax. And then feel the rest of your face. We have many muscles in our face, used when we make facial expressions, smiling or frowning or worried. So for now, just let all the facial muscles relax. Let your face become smooth and relaxed. But some teachers say it's nice if you smile a little bit when you're meditating. You can have just a little bit of a smile. And now move your awareness around to the right side of your head. See if you notice any sensations there. If there's any tension, see if you can let it go. And then continue to move your awareness around to the back of your head. Relax any tension there. And then the left side of your head. Now see if you can move your awareness to the inside of your head. You might be able to feel sensations inside your head. And if you do notice tension, tightness inside your head, see if you can relax it, release it, let it go. Now move your awareness down into your neck and throat. And from there into your shoulders and upper back. So that's an area where we sometimes have tension, especially if you're sitting at a desk, working at a computer for many hours. So tension can accumulate in the upper back. So if you notice any tension there, see if you can just consciously let it go. One thing you could do is to imagine the tension melting and then flowing down, draining out of you and sinking into the earth down below us. And let your awareness continue to move down through your back from the upper part to the middle part. And again, sweeping away or letting go of tension in the middle part of your back. And then down to the lower part of the back. From there, move your awareness to the front part of your body, starting with the chest. Feel your chest, both the surface of the chest as well as inside. Those organs inside of our chest, the lungs, the heart. So just try to be aware of whatever sensations there are, and if you notice any tensions, see if you can let it go, relax it, let it melt and flow away. And let your awareness continue to move down through the middle part of your body, your torso, from your chest downwards into the area of the diaphragm, and down into the abdominal area. Again, letting go of or releasing any tension. And continuing to let your breath flow in and out naturally. Let your awareness go all the way down to the pelvic area, the hips. And then from there, let your awareness move down into your right leg. And start with the upper part of the leg. Feel whatever sensations there are. Let go of any tension that's there. And then the knee, the right knee. And then the lower part of the right leg. And finally, the right foot. From the ankle, the foot, all the way down to the toes. And from there, shift the awareness to the left leg, starting with the upper part of the leg. Then the knee. And the lower part of the leg. Finally, the foot, the left foot and ankle, all the way down to the toes. So finally, we have the arms. So let's start with the right arm. Bring your awareness to the upper part of your right arm. Feel the sensations there. Relax or let go of any tension. And then the right elbow. The lower part of the right arm. Then the right wrist and hand, all the way down to the fingertips. And from there, move your awareness to the left arm, starting with the upper part. The elbow. And the lower part of the arm. Then the left hand and fingers. So now we've gone through the whole body and tried to relax the body as much as possible and let go of tension as much as possible. There might still be some tension in the body that you were not able to let go of, but don't worry about that. Just feel that you did the best you could to relax and let go of tension. Just be content with that. And try to keep your body relaxed for the rest of the time that we're meditating. And if tension does pop up in some part of the body, you can just put your awareness there and try to let go of the tension. Just consciously relax that part of the body and let the tension flow away. Now for the rest of this session, the focus, the object to focus the mind on is the breath. The breath coming in and going out. And there's different ways you can observe the breath. One is at the nostrils, where it's like the gateway, the doorway, where the breath is coming in and going out of our body. So you might be able to feel the very subtle sensations around the nose, the nostrils, as the breath is coming in and going out. So that's one place where you can watch the breath. Another place that some people use is the abdomen, the belly. So there, if you're breathing in the right way, there should be some movement down there. The belly moving in and out a little bit, expanding and contracting with each breath. So that's another place you can watch the breath. But feel free to find your own way to watch the breath. It doesn't matter so much where or how you watch it. The most important thing is to try to stay with the breath. And that means being aware of each inhalation of the breath and then the exhalation of the breath, one breath after another. And there's pauses in between the breaths, so you just continue to keep your awareness there in that place where you're watching the breath. So we try to do this for one breath after another continuously. But of course, that's very hard to do because our mind is normally very busy. We think a lot of thoughts, sometimes thoughts of the past, memories from the past, or thoughts of the future, plans for what we're going to do tonight, tomorrow, next week, and so forth. So our mind has that habit of thinking about the past, thinking about the future, thinking about our work, our problems, people, and so on. So many different things. So we can't just stop those thoughts just because we're meditating. So they will continue. Thoughts will continue to arise. And what we need to do is try to be aware if thoughts arise. And we can just say to ourselves, thought or thinking. And then let go of the thought and return your awareness to the breath. So you'll probably find that you have to do this again and again and again, and that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. It's completely okay to keep coming back to the breath again and again and again after it wanders away. And sometimes it might wander away and get completely caught up thinking a thought, and several minutes might go by before you realize that you're thinking rather than watching your breath. So don't be upset with yourself. Be patient, kind with yourself, and just in a patient way, in a gentle way, just let go of the thought and come back to the breath. So try to stay relaxed in your body and also relaxed in your mind. And just stay with the breath as much as you can. Come back to the breath when the mind wanders away to anything else, any thought, any sound, and so on. So again, don't worry if you find a lot of thoughts in your mind and your attention gets distracted again and again by thoughts. So that's actually normal. So just whenever you do notice that your mind has gone away from the breath, just let go of that other thought or whatever it is, and gently bring your awareness back to the breath. You might find that if you can, stay focused on the breath, even just for one complete breath. It's actually very relaxing, very pleasant. It's like a good thing you can do for your body and your mind. So, one side effect, you might say, of meditating, get to know ourselves. We get to know our mind better. We see what's going on in our mind, our thoughts, our emotions, our feelings, the different, the different kinds of mental activity going on in the mind. And for some people, that might be rather disturbing, shocking. Yeah, to see how your mind is. Sometimes you might think, "Wow, I'm crazy. I didn't realize I was so crazy." And I don't know if everyone has this experience, but I'm sure some people do. And you might even get kind of scared and want to run away. Unfortunately, we can't run away. That's wherever we go. So there's no way running away from our mind. But ideally, the ideal attitude to have when looking at our mind and seeing the craziness there is to not get upset, to not feel kind of frightened or disturbed or disgusted or ashamed with what's going on. Because they say that, the ideal state of mind in meditation is one that is non-critical, non-judgmental. That means you're not kind of looking at your mind and saying, "Oh, this is terrible, this is bad, this is awful, I'm so ashamed of this," and so on. So it's quite normal, it's quite natural that happens, that we do have a kind of judgmental or critical attitude about at least some of the things we see in ourselves, in our mind. But we need to learn not to do that. We need to learn to have an attitude of patience, kindness, gentleness, towards ourself, towards our mind, towards the things going on in our mind. Now, that's not always easy to do, but at least it's important to know that that's what we should do. We have to work towards that and try to have that kind of attitude. So we can, one way to start to notice, try to be aware if self-critical or self-judgmental attitudes arise in your mind. Like if you notice, so maybe there's a certain type of thought happening in your mind, and then another thought says, "Oh, look at what I'm doing, isn't that terrible?" And kind of judging yourself, or feeling ashamed. So do you ever notice that? Sure. Okay. So that's the first step. The first step is noticing, becoming aware that we do have that kind of attitude of self-criticalness, self-judgmentalness, and whatever. Okay. So because otherwise that kind of attitude is there, it's happening, and if we don't notice it, if we're not aware of it, then it will just keep going. We won't be able to change it or stop it. So the first step is noticing it. Noticing if and when your mind is having self-critical, self-judgmental, kind of condemning attitudes. So if you notice that happening, try to step back from that. Try to not follow that kind of thought. Instead, see it as something unhealthy, something unwise, something unskillful, something, we should try to unlearn, try to change. And instead, what we need to learn, although it does take time to learn this, is to have this attitude of non-criticalness, non-judgmentalness, being kind, being patient, being friendly, being a friend to ourselves rather than being mean to ourselves. I know for me, it's helpful just to think of the kind of attitude that we have towards our friends. Okay, so if you have a friend, really good, really dear friend, someone you really, really care about a lot and you feel a lot of love for, if that person makes a mistake or, is in a bad mood one day, What do you do? Do you get angry at them? Do you say, go away, I don't want to be your friend anymore? Like reject them? I mean, we might, but we probably wouldn't feel very good about that. So I think we just know that being a friend, being a good friend to somebody means you continue to be their friend, whether they're in a good mood or in a bad mood, whether they're nice or they're not so nice. So you learn to accept the person as they are. That doesn't mean you don't try to maybe talk to them and get them to change if they're behaving in some unskillful way. So of course it's good to do that, but you still go on loving them and caring about them and accepting them in spite of these mistakes that they make, isn't it? I mean, that's what it means to be friends, to have a friendship. Okay, so we know how to do that with our friends. Now, so we need to take that way of being, that kind of attitude, and apply it to ourselves. Yeah, learn to be a friend, a good friend, a kind and caring and patient friend to ourselves. And I know it's not easy to do. In fact, people often say, well, it's easy to be kind and caring and compassionate towards other people, but not to myself. When it comes to ourselves, sometimes we're really mean, really nasty. But at least if we can understand that isn't a good way of being. It's not, just as it's not nice to be nasty to your friends, it's also not nice to be nasty to yourself. Does that make sense? We shouldn't be nasty to anybody, right? We should try to be kind and caring and compassionate towards everybody, including this one. and not say, okay, I'm going to like everybody and be nice to everybody except this one, I mean, that doesn't sound right, does it? But we do it. But one reason why we do it is because it's the habit. It's something we've probably been doing a long time, maybe our whole life. And so it's like a really long-term habit, a really strong habit, and it's not easy to change, but it isn't impossible. It is possible. It is possible to change. We can change and learn to be more kind and more friendly and more caring and more compassionate towards ourselves. It's important to do that, to be happy, because if we are not nice to ourselves, then it's hard to be really happy. So if we can see how, we make ourselves suffer by not having kindness towards ourselves, by being unkind to ourselves, or kind to ourselves, we'd be more happy. Then it makes sense. It makes sense to try to work on that. So even, it takes a lot of time and a lot of energy to do it, it's worthwhile. It's important to do. So like I say, the first step is just becoming aware, just noticing when this self-critical, self-judgmental kind of thoughts or attitudes are happening in your mind, noticing that, and then learning to step back from that and say, no, that's not right. That's not what I should be doing. Things you can do to change that attitude and be more compassionate to yourself. For example, just trying to remember how you would be with a friend. What would you do? How would you be with a friend who's making some kind of mistake? And then try to have that same attitude towards yourself. Be kind to yourself. Also, for me, the Buddhist idea of impermanence is really helpful. Impermanence means that things are subject to change. Things are not permanent and fixed. And so that means whatever I see in myself that I don't like, if I remind myself, it's impermanent. It's not something that's permanent, that's always there, always has been there, and always will be there. Instead, it's something that comes and goes. It comes and goes. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. And I can see that for myself. And also Buddhism says it's possible to change ourselves, to work on ourselves and change ourselves and have less of these kind of crazy or disturbing thoughts and emotions and have more positive ones. So even if there are a lot of not so nice things inside myself, I know I can change that. I can work on that and change that. So reminding myself of that is helpful, to have more kindness and friendliness towards myself. It's not that, oh, this is how I am and I'm always going to be this way and I cannot change. I mean, if that was the case, then it would be pretty depressing. But it's not true. It's not like that. We can change. So remembering the impermanent nature of things, the changing nature of things, can help to lighten your attitude about yourself and think, okay, yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there that's not so good, but I know I can change it. I can work on it and change it. So that's one idea that's helpful. And another thing that's really helpful is to remind yourself of the positive things about yourself. You know, we're not all bad. There's not only bad things, crazy things, disturbing thoughts and emotions. There's a lot of good things as well. So bring to mind good things about yourself, good things that you have done, good things other people have pointed out in you. So remember those, remind yourself of those, so that you don't see yourself as totally 100% hopeless. Does that make sense? So those are just a few ideas about how to start seeing ourselves in a more positive way and not being so self-judging and self-critical. Any questions about that, or about anything else I've said? It's important to have a sense of humor as well. Not take ourselves so seriously. Be able to laugh at ourselves. Make it lighter, not so heavy and serious.
Can I share a comment?
Yeah.
Just when you said this about it's important to have humor, it reminded me of like a tip I read at some point in a book called what's it called? The Happiness Trap. The book. But one of the tips in that one is that when you have like self-critical thoughts, it helps for some to like put a melody on it, like sing it to yourself, like "Happy Birthday" to you or something. I tried it out a few times, and it actually helps for me a little bit.
How do you do it? You say this self-critical thought in a with a tune, like singing it.
Yeah. So there's this thing going on. I don't know what's it. You know, so a light thing. It's like, oh, you're always late, something like that.
Yeah.
And then if that goes on and on, I'm blaming myself.
Yeah.
It's kind of I'm always late. Something like that. It just makes it.
Makes it humorous rather than.
And not so. Doesn't affect things. So that's one way to add.
Yeah. Yeah, that reminds me in a book called A Path with Heart. I don't know if any of you have read that. It's a wonderful book. It's by Jack Kornfield. Jack Kornfield is one of the earliest Western people, he's American, to go to Asia and learn meditation, practice meditation, and then come back and teach it in the West. And so he's had a lot of experience practicing meditation and teaching meditation, but he's also a psychologist. He studied psychology, so he kind of knows both worlds. So the book Path with Heart is kind of a guide for Western people who are getting involved in Eastern spiritual traditions, not just Buddhism, but Hinduism, Sufism, and so forth. And he talks about some of the pitfalls or dangers that we can get into, some of the mistakes that we make, and so on. That's a very nice book. But there's something in there about, if there's like repetitive stories that go on in our mind, to give them a kind of label, a kind of humorous label. Like I can't remember the examples that he gave, but they were quite funny. It's like the melodramatic soap opera kind of stories that keep going over and over and over in our mind. So give it a name, and then when it comes up, just say, "Oh, there's that one again." So it's kind of similar to making it into a song.
We have that book here actually.
Yeah, I was looking for it the other night and I couldn't find it. It's somebody's borrowed it. So maybe before we have a break, maybe just get together with one other person and just share something that you learned from the session up to now. You could share something you learned in the meditation or something you learned from my talk, what I've said. Just share something that you thought was useful and helpful and important for you.
Or because I think this self-critical, I think what can be really helpful also is, I mean, if you're comfortable with it, but to share that with another person, or like listen to what stories are going on in other people's mind can sometimes be really helpful and put a perspective on. Okay, so I'm not the only one telling myself this story, and so of course it only if it's comfortable to share that with another person, but especially in a retreat, sometimes it can be really helpful to just check in with others. Okay, I have this thoughts going on in my mind all the time.
Yeah, because that's one of the problems. We tend to think, oh, I'm probably the only one who has
I must
this.
Be crazy. I must be really bad at myself, or I cannot do this, or I don't know how to meditate.
So then when you find out, oh, other people have this problem too, that makes it lighter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe just for a couple of minutes, get together with one or two other people. I don't know if we have a even number. Last week, some of you were here, but some of you were not. I mentioned an article that I had just received from an organization in California called the Greater Good Science Center, I think. And they publish a weekly newsletter with different kinds of articles. So there was an article about meditation and how there are different types of meditation. And if you try one type of meditation and it doesn't seem to be effective for you, it doesn't seem helpful for you, then you could try another type of meditation. So it mentioned actually a study had been done in Germany. And I think it was called the Max Planck Institute in Germany. So I don't know exactly what kind of institute. Anyway, it was a 9-month study on meditation, different kinds of meditations involving a couple hundred people. And they taught these different types of meditation to people and then compared the results, what people reported as the results of the meditations. And the 4 kinds of meditations they taught the people were breathing meditation, like just watching the breath and bringing the mind back to the breath again and again, like we did in the beginning today. And then loving kindness meditation, which is meditating, generating a feeling of love, kindness, and then sending that to more and more people. And then body scan, like we did in the beginning, but you can do a body scan in a much longer way. You could spend half an hour or more if you want doing the body scan. And then the last one was, it sounds like more the Vipassana practice of just observing whatever is happening in your mind and then making notes, making like mental notes as to what is happening. And so I shared this with the group that came last week, and somebody requested that we do the meditation on loving kindness. So I thought to lead that in the second part of the class tonight. And there's different ways of doing loving kindness meditation. You know, there isn't just one way of doing it. So I'll do it in a way that I think is helpful. But, you know, understand that there are other ways, different ways. And I haven't tried this, but probably on YouTube. There's so much on YouTube available. If you search around, you could probably find, you know, guided meditations on loving kindness from different teachers. So you could, you know, try out different ways and hopefully find one that you like. So let's do this together. So in this study that was done, it mentioned that people when they were practicing the loving kindness meditation, they reported that this enabled them to have more positive feelings towards others. So that's the purpose. The purpose of the meditation is to have more warmth and care and concern for others, and that's a very, very important aspect of our life. But also, when we meditate on loving kindness, we can also meditate on loving kindness for ourselves, and I will include that in the meditation. It's not always included, but it's good to include it, because that is one way in which we can improve the feelings that we have towards ourselves and have less criticalness and judgmentalness and unkindness towards ourselves. Okay, so let's begin. And again, make yourself comfortable. Try to keep your back straight if you can. And you can also keep your eyes open a little if you find that helpful. to avoid sleepiness, be able to stay more awake and alert. Now, let's start by taking a few deep breaths like we did in the last session, because that's a way of settling down and relaxing. So take 3 slow, deep breaths, breathing in slowly and then breathing out slowly. Exhaling slowly, gently, let the breath go out and let any tension you have in your body or in your mind go out with the exhalation of the breath. So do that 3 times and then just go back to normal breathing. Okay, so I'm going to be talking quite a bit during this meditation. Try the best you can to stay focused on what I am saying and follow the instructions, but in a relaxed way, not like forcing yourself, straining. So do it in a relaxed way, but try to stay focused on the meditation. So start by thinking of a person who loves you very much, who cares about you very much. It could be someone from the past or someone from the present. It could be someone who's passed away already or still alive. It could even be a spiritual teacher that you have. So bring that person to mind and imagine that they are either sitting or standing next to you on your right side. Imagine that they are there and they're sending you they're sending you wishes for your safety, for your well-being, for your happiness. So let yourself really feel the love, the warm wishes, the care coming from that person towards you. And now think of another person who loves you very much, who cherishes you. It could be a relative or a friend or a teacher. And imagine this person next to you, either standing up or sitting down. And imagine them looking at you with eyes full of love and sending you their love, their good wishes, their warm wishes, their care, wishing for you to be happy, wishing you to be healthy. And again, let yourself really feel the love coming from this person. So now imagine that you are surrounded by all the people who love you, both in the past and in the present. So imagine them all around you on all sides. All your friends, all your family, all your loved ones, all the people that care about you. And imagine all of them sending you their love, their kindness, their warm wishes, their good wishes. So allow yourself to feel loved by all these people. Let yourself be filled with this love, overflowing with love and warmth. So now we'll send loving kindness back to these people. Start with the person you imagined next to you on your right side. So begin to send to that person the love that you feel for them. So you and this other person are basically the same. You have the same kinds of thoughts and feelings, especially the wish to be happy. So you wish to be happy. This other person also wishes to be happy. So understand that and feel in your heart the wish for that person to be happy. And you can repeat to yourself words such as, may you be happy. May your life be filled with happiness and health and all good things. So you can use those words or whatever words you like to help you have that feeling of wishing happiness for the other person. So just repeat those words several times, focusing on this person, and feel that you're really sending your love to that person. And it can also be helpful to think of specific things that will help the person to be happy. So this could be just like food they like to eat, places they like to be, or feelings they like to have in their mind. So what will make the person happy? And then imagine the person receiving those things, having those things, and enjoying those things. And now do the same with the person on the other side, the left side. Focus on that person and understand that person is basically just like you and just like the other person, in that they want happiness. And send them your love. And again, you can do that by saying to yourself words like, may you be happy. I wish you to be happy. I wish your life to be filled with happiness and health and only good things. And again, you might want to specific things that will enable the person to be happy. And imagine them having those things or getting those things and enjoying them, being happy. Now think of all those other people that you imagined surrounding you, all your friends, your family, your loved ones. Understand that they too are like you, wanting to be happy, not wanting to suffer, wanting only good experiences, not bad experiences. So send your love to them. Wish them to have the happiness that they want, not experience the suffering, the problems that they don't want. So you can repeat to yourself words like we did before, thinking, may all of you, all of my friends, all of my loved ones, all my family, may all of you be happy. May you have only good experiences in your life, happiness, health. May your life be filled with positive things. So just repeat to yourself those words and try to really feel that you're sending your loving kindness to those people. Now, let's see if we can feel loving kindness for someone who we are not so close to. So think of a person you know, but not very well. So it could be someone you work with, or a neighbor, or a relative, but a distant relative. So you know this person, but you're not very close to them. You don't have really strong feelings towards them. Think of someone like that. mental picture of that person in your mind. And then understand that this person is just like you. They want to be happy. They don't want to suffer. So see if you can generate loving kindness for this person. Loving kindness basically just means wishing happiness, wishing the other person to be happy. So you may not have very strong feelings for this person, but you can just say to yourself words like, may you be happy. May you have all the good things in your life that will enable you to feel happy and fulfilled. So now let's see if we can really open our minds, open our hearts, and send loving kindness to everyone, everywhere. So one way to do that is to think of the world, this planet Earth that we live on. It is our home, and we share this home with many other people, something like 8 billion human beings, but lots of other beings as well, animals and fish and birds and so on. So you might just have a mental picture of the earth. You can imagine it as just a small round globe in front of you. And understand that there are many people and many beings living on this planet. And like us, like you, like me, they all want happiness. Nobody wants to suffer. Nobody wants pain. Everybody just wants good experiences. So imagine really opening up your heart and sending good wishes to all the people and all the beings on this planet. May all of them have the happiness that they wish for, that they seek, that they need. May they be free of the suffering that they don't want. So now that we have generated loving kindness for everybody else on this planet, we need to remember that we too are a person, a being living on this planet, and we too deserve loving kindness. We deserve to be happy. We deserve to be free of suffering. So turn your attention to yourself. Generate loving kindness for yourself. Wish yourself to be happy. Say to yourself words like, may I be happy. May I have everything I need, everything I want to be happy and to be fulfilled and to be free of suffering, pain, and problems. So now just take a few moments to observe your mind, a state of mind, and just check how do you feel? What's happening in your mind? What's happening in your body right now? So that should give you an idea of how to do a meditation on loving kindness, but adjust it according to your needs. For example, if you don't have so much time, you could do a loving kindness meditation in just 5 minutes, before you rush off to work in the morning. Or even while you're on your way to work, sitting on the bus, sitting on the train, you could just spend some time doing loving kindness meditation. So, like I said, there's many different ways of doing it, and feel free to experiment with different ways and find one that works best for you. Also, sometimes people say that if they are, sitting and doing a guided meditation like this, sometimes they say they don't feel anything. They don't feel any love, any feelings of love. So I don't think that's something to be worried about, to be concerned about. Sometimes it's easy to feel love and sometimes it's not. So even if you don't feel love when you're doing a loving kindness meditation, it's okay. Just to go through the steps and say to yourself those words like may you be happy and so forth, whatever words you use. It's enough just to say those words, because that makes your mind familiar with what loving kindness actually means. So even if you're just saying the words and not feeling anything, slowly your mind gets more used to it, and slowly the feelings will start to come, and you will find it easier to actually have the feelings. So don't worry if the feelings aren't there right in the beginning. Give yourself time. Keep doing it. And hopefully, I'm sure it will happen. Because love, this feeling of love, loving kindness, is something we all have. It's a natural quality, a natural part of our mind. And it's not, it comes up naturally, spontaneously on its own without having to make any effort. But at other times, it's harder to feel it. So don't be discouraged if you are not able to feel it whenever you want to. Because, I mean, the whole idea of meditation, the word for meditation in the Tibetan language literally means to become familiar. So what we are doing when we meditate is making ourselves familiar with certain ways of thinking, certain ways of feeling, certain states of mind. So we're trying to familiarize ourselves with these positive states of mind. And the more we do it, the more we practice it, the more they will come like natural and spontaneous, our natural way of being. And then, eventually these states of mind will just arise kind of naturally on their own, spontaneously. But in the beginning, we sometimes have to make some effort to do it. Does that make sense, what I'm saying? Okay. Any last questions before we finish, or comments, or yeah?
Yeah, because it's I can think of that because you mentioned Jack Confield earlier, and it's been an issue for me sometimes. This thing you mentioned now about being frustrated sometimes that I don't feel the effect that I expect from a visualization, like the loving kindness meditation. But Jack Cornfield, he has this image that I found helpful. He mentions in one of his books this story about a Jewish rabbi who, when teaching his students, tell them to. So he says like, so with all these prayers, the words we recite, we place them on our heart. We keep saying this, and the students, when they ask him like, so why do you keep saying that we place these words and prayers on our heart, and we place them in our heart? And he says, no, we can't do anything but place them on our heart, and that's the practice. And then one day when our heart breaks, we hope that they'll fall in. So I just found that image helpful.
Yeah.
In the way that, so it helps me to kind of, when I don't know, I decide, I visualize this, like we just did, and even though it doesn't affect me much, I can like imagine that it's still helpful and that I plant seeds that will kind of take root one day when, I don't know, when I'm in a crisis or something makes sense or something.
I haven't heard that story before. Yeah. But I just remembered another teacher who said at the beginning of a loving kindness meditation to think of some he said like a little puppy or a little kitten, a little animal. I think people easily feel a sense of kindness and tenderness, when you see a little animal, unless you really hate little animals. But I think most people, or you could use a child, a little child. When we see a little child or a little puppy or a little kitten, it just kind of opens up our heart. Yeah. It's so easy to feel this, oh, it's so cute. I want to pick it up and cuddle it. So, so that might be a helpful way to get in touch with that feeling of loving kindness. And then, oh, that's what loving kindness is, that feeling. So if you can, try to think of that kind of experience and then bring that feeling up, then you can use it to then send it out to these other people. So feel free to explore and try different methods, different things that might work for you. What works for one person might not work for somebody else, and vice versa. So hopefully you can find at least something that will help you to get in touch with that feeling. Anyone else? Yeah.
I just have a question. It's not related to this, but just regarding your practice, right? Sometimes if you are like, for a few months not practicing a lot or not somehow being distracted from your daily practice, then I read several times that Lama Tsong Khapa, people, they say that, okay, then you can, for instance, focus on death. You can read about death, practice like death meditation, or what do you advise if you want to, if you feel that for me personally right now, it's a few months, right, that I feel that I've like been moving away from the track. Do you have any advice to, how do you like in the most easy way like dive into it again?
I don't know. I think different things might work for different people. Rinpoche speaks about death because they say that our life isn't going to last forever, and it's really important that we do some practice while we're still alive before we die. Otherwise, we're kind of left empty-handed at the end of our life. So for some people that might work, but it may not work for other people. So if that doesn't work for you, then you might just remember if there were times when you did do practice and you found it really helpful and really beneficial, and it really brought something beneficial into your life, you could remember that, bring that to mind, and think, wow, it really was helpful. So if I can get back into the practice, it will also bring benefit into my life. So that might work. Another thing that might work could be to just explore your mind and ask yourself, why am I not practicing? Yeah. Instead, because I don't think we should like beat ourselves up and try to force ourselves to practice. That may not work, but it might be more effective to just try to understand, why did I stop? Why did I stop? And why is it so hard to get back into it? So just explore that, the dynamics of your own mind, your own experience. And then that might give you some clues as to how to get back into practice. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because I don't think our practice should be something like, I should do it. And if I don't do it, I'm bad. Like it shouldn't be something that we feel bad about if we don't do it. Ideally, we practice because we want to practice. We see it as beneficial, and it's something we enjoy. It should be. It should be something enjoyable and not a burden or I have to do it, but I don't really want to. So ideally, we need to find a way to find joy. Do it because we want to do it, not because, we feel that other people want us to do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I just feel like just because you sometimes if it's like far away from you, right? Then all the perspective, so to speak, right? Like even having like impermanence as like part of your like mindset.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you lose all that and you just get like stuck in everyday life, then my mind starts to tell me that this whole like chapter is not that important. You don't have to read the books and stuff like so that is actually what it's not the fact that I should practice, it's more the fact that suddenly if you get the distance, and it also comes with a question mark, kind of like, oh, maybe this could be something I'm doing like 2 years or
Mm-hmm.
right, because so it was more like if there's a way to like yeah.
Well, and another thing that can be helpful is to go to a retreat if you have the chance to do so. To go to a retreat, and because that's like getting a boost, getting your batteries recharged. we say. Um, so if you have the chance to do that, go to a retreat for ideally not just a few days, but maybe a week or 10 days. So that could be very helpful to get, oh yeah, now I know why practice is useful. Like you get that charge again, that energy again. Because it is hard living in the city, surrounded by people who are not practicing and whose interests and energies lie elsewhere. It's very hard to sometimes just see the benefit and the why. Why should I even do it? So in a retreat situation where you have a group of people meditating together, a teacher guiding, and I mean, ideally, it's a very nice energy and you'll get a very nice experience, and that might help you. Just a suggestion, but yeah, try out different ways. Okay, so we need to finish, and what we usually do at the end of a class or meditation is dedicate the energy, the positive energy. So we came together tonight and spent 2 hours together doing meditation and talking about meditation and thinking about it and trying to understand it and so on. So this means we've done some good things for ourselves, good things for others, good things for the world. So we've created some good energy, some positive energy here tonight. And we can share this energy with others, with the world. So imagine that this positive energy we've created goes out from us, from our hearts, to all the people, all the beings in the world, in the universe, and have the wish that it will help all of them have greater peace of mind, happiness, and less confusion and fear and suffering, and all the things that just make life so miserable. May they be free of those, have all the positive conditions, and may this also help them get in touch with their real nature, their true nature, and quickly be able to fulfill that real nature of the mind and become enlightened. Okay, so thank you for coming tonight, and hope to see you again. Yeah.
So since there are a few new faces here today, I'd also just like to present myself and to present where you are today, what this center is about. You are in a Tibetan Buddhist center. If you haven't noticed, you can recognize the Tibetan Buddhist centers that if there is some space, they tend to put Buddhas and Tangas up everywhere. So that's how you can see that this is also a Tibetan Buddhist center. And we have our resident teacher, Venerable Sangye Khadro. In fact, she's one of the, I'm not going to say the oldest student, but one of the earliest students of Lama Zopa Rinpoche and Lama Yeshe, who is up here, who started the organization that this center is also a part of, called the FPMT. It's an international Tibetan Buddhist organization reaching out to almost everywhere in the world. I don't know, is it maybe 100 centers and study groups nowadays spread around the world. And Venerable Sangye Khadro is here since January, and she's teaching on a regular basis, teaching every Thursday the program that you have been attending now on mindfulness for stress relief and other daily problems that we deal with in our life. Also on Tuesdays, there is a regular class on developing what is the name of the class again? The Awakening the
Kind Heart.
Yeah, based on a book that she wrote, a really inspiring book as well. And this is our regular classes, and then we have different events coming up in the weekends. Like in a few weeks, we have a visiting teacher coming, Rob Priest. I think the course is in fact already fully booked, but also so we have different kind of visiting teachers. And we also try to have some social events and some occasions for the people who come to this center regularly, and also newcomers to meet and get to know each other. And we are a large group of volunteers running the center. I'm one of two directors in the center, and Joseph and Sine is some of our volunteer coordinators. Thomas is here every Thursday, and if you're interested and you're already coming here on Thursdays, he would also really like some help with setting up the place and cleaning afterwards, making tea and coffee and things like that. So if you are here anyway, you may offer your help, and in that way make it easier for Thomas to be Thomas. And Niels is one of our volunteers. He has been doing the streaming for a long time, and is now handing it over to new smart minds who can manage the technology.
He taught me my tech mentor.
Exactly, yeah. And Dina is taking care of our library, and so we are a big group of volunteers, and we are always welcoming new volunteers. So if you're interested in becoming a volunteer in this center, or if you want to have other questions about the center, you're very welcome to ask me or any of our other volunteers. I'd also just like to share that it's this center is run on a principle of generosity, as we call it. So this is actually a tradition that goes 2,500 years back, when the Buddha himself taught the first, he turned the first wheel of Dharma, as they call it. He taught the first teachings. He didn't ask for money. He just sat there. People came, requested his teachings, and he taught them. And he never asked for any money. So in this center also, we don't ask for money, in the sense we don't have a price for our courses. So everything, as I usually say, that everything is already paid for. So the rent for today, the food, the tea, the coffee, the electricity, all of it is paid for until this date. And the people who paid it were people who came here in the past, who benefited from the teachings, who appreciated the center, and who wanted to make sure that they would be able to come back, and that other people would be able to continue to benefit from this center. So they gave a donation, and that's why we exist today. And if you feel like, or if you appreciated the teachings, if you would like to create the conditions to be able to come back for this center to exist also in the future, you are very welcome to leave a donation for the center. We have different options. There's a glass ball there, you can leave some cash. There's mobile pay. And if you come here more regular and you feel like contributing more regularly, it's also possible to set up a regular contribution. And for those who do that, because we are a recognized faith society, you can actually deduct it from your tax bill. Yeah, we have a regular expense of about 40,000 krona every month. So you can calculate for yourself that, of course, we are dependent on your contributions. But of course, if we don't have the contributions, we just close down the center. We give away our Sanghas and our Buddhas. But we hope that we will be able to continue for another many years. So thank you, everyone, and please stay for some tea and coffee, and see you next week. Thank you, Thanks.